Some 2 years ago, when I started on my PhD journey and started investigating this phenomenon of coaching presence, you know, what I like calling being more and doing less in coaching, I got a female client. Let's call her Emily. Emily is a mechanical engineer, brilliant brains. She had just been promoted to a senior sales position and put in charge of a major market in her industry. And Emily turned to me and signed up for coaching, and her CEO was supporting this learning opportunity for her because he was having very high hopes for her in the company. So we clarified her coaching goals to become more assertive in a male-dominated world. We set the boundaries around how to achieve her goals. We agreed to see the CEO and a couple of her colleagues for feedback sessions and paid attention to how to monitor her progress in what seemed to be a very efficient and productive way. So long story short, we seem to have set up a coaching engagement like a copybook with one hitch. From time to time, still early on in the coaching relationship, Emily kept asking me one question. Tünde, do you understand me? And after a few times, I asked Emily, what motivates you to ask me this question? What am I saying or not saying or doing or potentially doing wrong? Because my responses do not seem to persuade you to feel understood. Emily was caught off guard. She hadn't even noticed that she was asking me that question. And she couldn't make any sense of it either. So we agreed that we would be waiting for those moments when the question would pop up. And we would try to make sense of that question in the here and now of our coaching relationship. So we did. We tried. And we failed. We both started feeling stuck in our coaching relationship. And that was the moment when I started wondering and asking myself, Tünde, where are you with Emily? Where is your being in this relationship with this client? What is the unspoken that seems to be operating between Emily and yourself? What is this unspoken that seems to be leaving you with such a huge question mark? By then, we had been into our third coaching session. And Emily had been doing great progress. So paradoxically, in that third session, Emily suggested to opt out of the coaching relationship. Despite her being recognized for her achievements, and despite her recognizing me as a coach for our achievement. So I listened to her and said, Emily, do I understand you right? That you are missing me in this relationship? And Emily's eyes brightened up and she said, Tünde, we are doing such a great job here. I'm so amazed by the progress that we are making here. And the company's getting what they want and I'm getting what I wanted. And at the same time, I feel so alone. So I picked that up and said, Emily, would you like to dance with me? And at which she chuckled. And I continued, would you be willing to explore with me how we can be with each other for a change? And Emily said, yes, that would feel safe to me. So we agreed to see each other for a fourth session, and by that time, I suspected that what Emily was meaning to tell me all the while was that I wasn't present for her in the coaching relationship. So I suggested to her to change location because I believe in the power of location. I invited her to think of a question that she might like to explore and to imagine the place that she might like to take me to explore that question with me. So before I let on about the story's end, let's explore this phenomenon of coaching presence a little bit. Is it true that coaches need to be more and do less to make more insightful meaning of why clients do what they do? That was the question on my mind when reflecting Emily's missing me in the relationship. I was wondering, how come that my responses did not resonate with her? I am present, ain't I? I am interpersonal, interactional, ain't I? I'm showing her that I'm present for her, ain't I? Well, I might have been interactional all right, using body language, nonverbal interaction, and all that, but I might have failed to do so in the right moment. So I was wondering if my nonverbal responses had been happening with a certain time lag, and if that time lag might have been perceived by Emily as way too long to feel, to trust it, to feel safe with it in the coaching relationship. Now let me sidestep a little bit and invite you into thinking with me. You all know this phenomenon when you feel grateful to your partner and you fail to show this gratitude in the moment for whatever reason, because you are too proud, you don't want to show yourself vulnerable, you're too busy, or for whatever reason. And then, at a later point in time, you come back and say, thank you. This is not the same. Saying thank you at a later point in time involves an element of effort. The energy is not the same as when you would be spontaneously saying thank you to someone without much ado, without thinking too hard. Now, coming back to this time lag between Emily's interactions and my responses to those interactions, the time lag cannot possibly be very long unless my responses had been missing altogether. And yet, it seems to have left a huge impact on how Emily was feeling safe in the relationship. That's why I feel so passionate about researching coaching presence through nonverbal interactions. The ICF, the International Coach Federation, defines coaching presence as the ability to be fully conscious. Just imagine what that might imply. And to create spontaneous relationships, employing a style that is confident, open, and flexible. So, although coaching presence seems to form a key element of what we coaches like calling the co-created relationship, we do not know what it is. We have absolutely no scientific evidence for that. Some coaches call it connection. Some others call it intuition. Some others call it chemistry. We are talking about it in terms of coaching presence. And I even heard some coaches call it the mojo. Now let me come back to why I became genuinely interested in exploring this lack of synchrony between Emily's interactions and my responses to those interactions. There is this time lag phenomenon that I got really, really curious about. Interestingly, psychotherapy had been looking into this interpersonal synchrony, or what they call interpersonal synchrony in their own jargon, for 10 years now. And what they found is that if a response between therapist and patient fails to occur within 6 seconds, what will happen is that there is a high likelihood that the patient will start feeling destabilized any minute of any interaction with anyone. So this phenomenon has remained unexplored in coaching. What has also remained unexplored in coaching is coaching presence's potential effects on clients' goal attainment. And that's interesting because interpersonal synchrony may occur in various forms: verbally, non-verbally, emotionally, neuronally, when the brains couple, and we can measure that, and even physiologically, like when we can literally feel clients' pain. As I said, any minute of any interaction with anyone. Let me give you an example. It has been shown that when a caregiver and a baby fail to respond to each other in a timely fashion, what will happen is that not just the baby, but also the mother, and not just the mother, but also the baby will start feeling distressed. The mother might go like, "Why is my baby not responding to my billing and cooing?" And the baby might go like, "Hey, why is this adult so insensitive to my needs?" I do not want my clients to feel distressed with me. That's why researching interpersonal synchrony and, as a result, coaching presence through nonverbal interactions, these nonverbal cues, in particular those that occur with ease and lightness, our spontaneous sensitivity to clients' needs, our responsiveness, this is what plays a crucial role in coaching presence and how clients feel safe with us. In social sciences, there are some studies that indicate that the felt sense of what's going on for us in the relationship with someone, like how we are in that relationship, may be the gateway to synchrony. Now, by what I've said so far, it becomes clear, I hope so, what my research is not about. This is not about mimicking the client. This is not about parroting the client either verbally or non-verbally. We, coaches, are not selling anything to our clients. So that's why there is no need for us to try to consciously imitate them, to potentially manipulate their thoughts or actions. So now let me come back to my experience with Emily. I was genuinely interested in becoming a more impactful coach for Emily. I wanted to be able to listen at a deeper level by understanding more of this unspoken operating between us. I wanted to dance with her, like I have this deep wish to dance in any minute with all my clients. I want to be more and do less of an effort when I guide clients on their learning journey. And I want to be open to these powerful energies that are dancing around us in the coaching relationship, like they're dancing around us right now. There I was, left with the question, how to dance with Emily in the fourth session. What would it mean to be present for her? Emily chose the fourth session to take place on the shores of a lake, a bit outside of the city where she lives and works. So before we got started investigating her sense of rejection with certain authority figures, as was her request, I asked her what motivated her to come to that shores of the lake. And Emily said that she liked looking at the ripples of the water. So we started looking into her sense of rejection, and I invited her to look at the ripples of the water and to see what was coming up for her in that moment, to look into her felt sense of what was happening in the here and now of our relationship. So there we were, perched on a slight hill, some 50 meters from the shores of that lake, when suddenly a couple appeared from the right, walking past in front of our eyes. Now, there's nothing wrong with people walking past in front of our eyes. That was a public place. And there had been other people walking past in front of our eyes without us taking any notice of them, which is also interesting for another time. What was very particular about this couple is that they were naked. Now let me be clear here. This was a decent place. This was a public place. This was not a nudist beach where you might expect people to run around naked. So I spotted that couple, and I saw my head turn to the right, where Emily was standing right next to me, and I saw her gaze turn to me to meet my eyes. And we burst out into the heartiest laughter ever. So there we were, giggling and laughing along, until Emily said, "Thank you, Tünde, for being you. Thank you for helping me feel so liberated, because now I see that you feel the same way as I do." Now, we both knew that we were not laughing at the couple. We were just amused by this bizarre quality of the situation. Things were so a mess. This wasn't the right place for what we were doing, and she was in a centering exercise and all that. Anyhow, allowing for this spontaneous lightness to happen in the relationship without me first cross-checking, would it be appropriate to laugh now with Emily being in sort of an embodiment exercise, in her centering exercise and that? Actually turned out to be the pivotal moment that transformed our relationship. Now here is my claim. Coaches for whom it is easier to simulate the body states of others will be perceived as more empathic by their clients, which will enhance the client's capacity to emotionally self-regulate or become socially sensitive and responsive in their own environments, which again is believed to foster clients' goal attainment beyond coaching as they become also responsive in their own environments. Although my study is not completed and findings are not definitive, my hypotheses fall in line with what the function of nonverbal synchrony may be. The better coaches can feel themselves, the better they can share these feelings with clients. And this is being more as a relevant skill for both the coach to enable the client to feel attuned with them and the client to feel capacitated to self-regulate and achieve goals beyond coaching sessions. So to conclude, nonverbal interactions strengthen the coach-client relationship, and this strength of the coach-client relationship will create sustainable outcomes for coaching in organizational systems for clients. Clients' goal attainment through the long-lasting effects of and beneficial effects of coaching presence will create the ripple effects of pro-social behavior. These ripples on the water that Emily seems to have anticipated so wisely. What a far-sighted woman. Thank you.